What if I told you that one of the richest men in history didn't build his empire through luck or inheritance, but through small, consistent habits repeated daily? Warren Buffett, worth over $100 billion, started with just a few dollars and a vision. He mastered the power of patience, discipline, and long-term thinking, turning tiny decisions into massive success. The best part? His habits aren't just for billionaires. They're for anyone willing to apply them. In this video, we'll break down Buffett's success formula and how you can use it to transform your own life. Let's get started. The power of compounding. Why small habits matter. Success isn't about one big moment. It's about small, consistent actions that compound over time. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire overnight. He started investing at the age of 11 with just a few dollars and let the power of compounding work its magic. Just like money grows when invested wisely, so do habits. Every small action, reading a book, saving a dollar, learning a new skill, builds up over time, creating exponential results. Most people give up too soon because they don't see instant rewards. But Buffett understood that patience is the key to success. He didn't chase quick wins or gamble on risky investments. He played the long game. Think of it like planting a tree. At first, it's just a tiny seed in the ground, barely noticeable. But with time, care, and consistency, it grows into something massive, providing shade, stability, and value. Buffett's entire philosophy is based on this principle. Small, smart decisions repeated over decades. He calls it the snowball effect. Start small, keep rolling, and eventually, it turns into something unstoppable. This mindset doesn't just apply to investing, it applies to life. If you commit to improving by just 1% every day in a year, you won't be 365% better. You'll be nearly 38 times better because of the power of compounding. Most people underestimate what they can achieve over a decade, but overestimate what they can do in a week. Buffett's lesson? Think long-term, stay consistent, and let the results build up over time. If you want to be successful, don't focus on making huge leaps overnight. Instead, focus on small habits that will lead to bigger results down the road. Whether it's improving your skills, saving money, or building a business, consistency and patience are the ultimate game changers. The reading habit. Buffett's #1 secret to success. Warren Buffett once said, "The more you learn, the more you earn." But here's the surprising part. His learning habit isn't complex or secretive. It's something simple that anyone can do. Reading. Buffett spends up to 80% of his day reading, a habit he's followed for decades. Even now, at over 90 years old, he still reads for hours daily. Why? Because knowledge compounds, just like money. The more you know, the better decisions you make, and better decisions lead to bigger success. When Buffett started his investing journey, he didn't have access to inside information or special resources. He had books. He read financial reports, biographies, newspapers, and investment strategies until he understood businesses better than most CEOs. He wasn't gambling on stocks. He was making educated bets based on deep knowledge. And this principle applies to any field. Whether you want to be a better entrepreneur, artist, or athlete, success comes from absorbing knowledge and applying it. Most people complain that they don't have time to read. But here's the truth. Buffett, a billionaire managing billions of dollars, still makes time to read. If he can, so can you. Start with just 10 pages a day. Over a year, that's 3,650 pages, roughly 12 to 15 books. That small habit will change your thinking, improve decision-making, and give you an advantage over 99% of people who stop learning after school. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent. It's how much they learn. Buffett treats knowledge as an investment, with each book being a deposit into his future success. He believes that the best asset you can invest in is yourself, because unlike money, no one can take knowledge away from you. So ask yourself, when was the last time you read something that could change your life? If you want to think like a billionaire, start by reading like one. The Art of Saying No, Focus and Discipline. One of the most surprising things about Warren Buffett's success isn't just what he does, it's what he refuses to do. He once said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." Buffett understands that time is the most valuable resource. Most people try to do everything. They chase every opportunity, attend every meeting, and try to be everywhere at once. But spreading yourself too thin doesn't lead to success. It leads to mediocrity. Buffett built his empire by focusing only on what truly mattered, investing in great businesses, reading, and making high-quality decisions. One of his greatest mentors, Charlie Munger, calls this the anti-goal strategy. Instead of making a long list of things you want to do, make a list of things you should avoid at all costs. Buffett follows this principle religiously. He doesn't get caught up in distractions, trends, or unnecessary obligations. If an opportunity doesn't align with his long-term vision, he says no. Think about your own life. How much time do you waste on things that don't help you grow? Endless social media scrolling, saying yes to things out of obligation, working on projects you don't believe in. Buffett teaches us that saying no is one of the most powerful success habits. Every time you say no to something meaningless, you're saying yes to your goals, your priorities, and your future. So what can you start saying no to today? Maybe it's distractions, bad habits, or commitments that drain your time and energy. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but better. The long-term mindset. Thinking in decades, not days. Most people want success now. Fast money, instant results, overnight success. But Warren Buffett's approach is the exact opposite. He built his wealth by thinking in decades, not days. His investment strategy is simple. Someone sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Buffett doesn't chase quick wins. When he buys a stock, he treats it as if he's buying the entire business for life. He doesn't panic when the market drops. He doesn't follow trends, and he doesn't make emotional decisions. Instead, he plays the long game, letting time and patience do the heavy lifting. And that's the secret. The longer you stay in the game, the bigger the rewards. Most people fail because they think too short-term. They want immediate results, and when they don't see them, they give up. But real success, whether in money, business, health, or personal growth, takes years of consistent effort. Buffett's fortune didn't explode overnight. In fact, 99% of his wealth came after his 50s. But he started young, stayed patient, and let the power of time work in his favor. The same principle applies to life. If you're building a business, don't expect to be successful in a few months. Think in years. If you're developing a skill, don't give up after a few failed attempts. Give it consistent effort over time. Success is a long-term game, and those who understand this will always be ahead. Buffett teaches us that wealth isn't just about money. It's about making smart choices, sticking to them, and trusting the process. So the next time you feel frustrated about slow progress, remember, you're planting seeds for a future that's bigger than you can imagine. Stay patient, stay consistent, and let time do the rest. Frugality and financial discipline live below your means. Warren Buffett is worth over $100 billion, yet he still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He doesn't own luxury yachts, private islands, or expensive cars. Why? Because he understands that wealth isn't about how much you spend. It's about how much you keep and grow. Most people believe that the rich live extravagantly, but Buffett's lifestyle proves otherwise. He follows a simple rule. Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. This is the core of financial discipline. Instead of buying unnecessary luxuries, he focuses on increasing his investments. He knows that every dollar saved and invested today will multiply in the future. The biggest mistake people make is increasing their spending as their income grows. They get a raise and immediately upgrade their car, move into a bigger house, or buy things they don't need. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's why so many people, even high earners, stay broke. Buffett teaches us that true financial freedom comes from living below your means and making smart financial choices. Think about your own spending habits. How much of what you buy actually improves your future? Buffett reminds us that money should work for us, not the other way around. Instead of focusing on looking rich, focus on building real wealth. Invest in assets, save consistently, and avoid unnecessary expenses. Buffett doesn't live frugally because he has to. He does it because he understands that wealth is built by discipline, not reckless spending. The key takeaway? You don't need $1 billion to be financially free. You just need the right habits. Live simply, invest wisely, and watch your wealth grow over time. Taking action. How you can apply Buffett's habits. Today, learning about Warren Buffett's habits is one thing, but applying them is what truly matters. Success isn't about knowing what to do, it's about doing it consistently. Buffett didn't become a billionaire by waiting for the perfect moment. He started small, stayed disciplined, and let time do the work. The good news? You can do the same. Start with the reading habit. Buffett reads for hours every day, but you don't need to. Begin with 10 pages a day. That's over 12 books a year. The more you read, the more knowledge you gain, and the better your decision-making becomes. Reading isn't just for investors. It's for anyone who wants to grow. Master the art of saying no. If something doesn't align with your goals, cut it out. Buffett doesn't let distractions steal his time, and neither should you. Whether it's meaningless social media scrolling, toxic relationships, or unnecessary commitments, focus on what truly matters. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things consistently. Think long-term. Stop looking for quick wins and overnight success. Whether you're investing, learning a skill, or building a business, give yourself time. Buffett became one of the richest people in history, not because of a lucky break, but because of decades of smart decisions. Stay patient, trust the process, and let your efforts compound. Live below your means. Cut unnecessary expenses and start saving. Even if you can't invest thousands, start small. Buffett didn't wait until he was rich to make smart financial decisions. He became rich because of them. The key isn't how much you earn, but how much you keep and grow. Now it's up to you. Buffett's habits are simple but powerful. The The question is, will you apply them? Start today. Read, focus, think long-term, stay disciplined, and build habits that will shape your future. Your journey to success starts with small steps, repeated daily. What's the first habit you'll start today? Success isn't about luck, intelligence, or where you start. It's about the small habits you build every day. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire overnight. He mastered patience, discipline, and the power of compounding. The good news? These habits aren't reserved for billionaires. They're for anyone willing to apply them. Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. The choices you make today will shape your future. So, what's one habit you'll commit to right now? Drop it in the comments, share this with someone who needs motivation, and remember, your future success starts with today's decisions. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to Rise and Inspire.
Oprah Winfrey's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, self-discovery, and the determination to uplift others no matter how dark the road ahead may seem. Born into challenging circumstances and enduring a painful childhood, she refused to let trauma define her future. Instead, she harnessed every obstacle as a stepping stone, gradually building a media empire that has inspired millions. In this video, we'll explore how Oprah turned her adversity into triumph and uncover the empowering lessons that can fuel your own path to greatness. Overcoming a turbulent childhood. Oprah Winfrey's early years were marked by instability, heartbreak, and financial struggles that could have easily broken her spirit. Raised by her grandmother during infancy, she experienced poverty so severe that her family made clothing from potato sacks. Constantly uprooted and shuttled between relatives, she had every reason to believe her potential would remain buried under life's challenges. Yet, she discovered an escape within the pages of books, forming a refuge for her intellect and imagination. Reading allowed her to see beyond her limited surroundings and dream of a future where she could lift herself out of hardship. While her environment was far from nurturing, it ignited a flame of self-reliance and creativity that would later define her path. She faced emotional and physical turmoil no child should endure, but with each traumatic event, she made a promise to herself. This pain would not be her legacy. Instead, it would be the catalyst that fueled her empathy for others. Have you ever felt like your background or past mistakes were insurmountable barriers to success? Oprah's story serves as a powerful reminder that one's origin need not dictate one's destiny. Through endurance, hope, and an unwavering belief in something better, she rose above her circumstances. She took control of her narrative, transforming what some might see as an impossible obstacle into a heartfelt motivation to uplift countless lives. This ability to persevere despite the odds planted the seeds for the remarkable woman the world would soon come to know. Discovering the power of communication. For Oprah, the spoken word became more than just a means to convey information. It was a tool of liberation. From a young age, she found solace in reciting Bible verses in church and participating in local speaking events. Each time she stood up to address a crowd, she felt an inner spark, a sense of belonging and authority she rarely experienced in her chaotic childhood. It was as if every syllable spoken publicly added a new layer to her emerging confidence. Communication was not only her refuge, it was her superpower. She believed in the transformative power of storytelling, recognizing that when we share our stories honestly and authentically, we can heal both ourselves and those who listen. This conviction led her to pursue journalism and media even when the odds were stacked against a young Black woman from an impoverished background. Like a seed discovering the warmth of the sun, her natural gift for connecting with people flourished in front of a microphone. Initially, she faced setbacks and professional challenges, including working at smaller local stations that questioned whether she had the right look or style for television. Undeterred, she used criticism as a catalyst to refine her presentation, not to conform to a standard that didn't suit her, but to uncover the truest expression of herself. By embracing her own voice and unique perspective, she transformed vulnerability into a powerful form of engagement. In doing so, Oprah teaches us all that genuine communication can pierce through barriers built by prejudice, fear, and misunderstanding. From local news to global influence, Oprah's transition from local news anchor to national icon was never guaranteed. Early stints in television exposed her to a competitive industry that often placed looks and ratings above raw authenticity. She was told her hair wasn't right, her weight wasn't ideal, and her style didn't fit the norm. Each critique could have shattered her self-esteem, but she chose to lean on the resilience she developed in her childhood. Rather than chasing someone else's definition of perfection, she committed to staying real and relatable. That choice to remain undeniably herself became her secret weapon. When she began co-hosting a morning talk show in Chicago, her empathetic interviewing style immediately resonated with viewers. She offered more than just a quick soundbite or sensational headline. She offered a compassionate ear. Ratings soared, and soon the Oprah Winfrey Show was born. Her show wasn't merely about celebrity gossip or trends. It was a platform where everyday people felt seen and heard. For Oprah, discussing hard-hitting issues ranging from abuse to discrimination was not about exploiting pain for ratings, but about empowering viewers to face their own struggles head-on. The audience could sense her genuine concern, turning them into loyal advocates who helped grow her influence to global proportions. This remarkable trajectory reminds us that success often follows those who dare to bring their true selves into their work. The question for you is, are you willing to show up as your authentic self, even if it goes against the grain? Oprah's life illustrates that individuality can be your greatest asset and vulnerability can be your strongest suit of armor. Embracing empathy and personal connection. The hallmark of Oprah's empire lies in her profound empathy, a trait she cultivated through her personal pain. Instead of hiding her experiences of abuse and emotional turmoil, she openly shared them, forging an immediate bond with people from all walks of life. This authenticity translated into an interview style that delved deeper than surface-level chatter. Her conversations seemed more like heartfelt exchanges between friends rather than scripted Q&As. In a society that often shies away from public introspection, Oprah dared to turn the spotlight onto the hidden recesses of the human psyche, encouraging her guests and her audience to confront trauma, shame, and guilt. By doing so, she showed that empathy can be a powerful catalyst for healing and transformation. Viewers felt safe to confront their own vulnerabilities because Oprah was unafraid to confront hers. Through episodes featuring everyday heroes, survivors, and thought leaders, she created a space for human connection that spanned race, class, and geography. When people tuned in, they weren't just watching television, they were participating in a cultural moment of shared introspection. Empathy in Oprah's world was not a weakness, but a superpower that built bridges across differences. By engaging viewers in conversations that matter, she urged each of us to become a little more compassionate in our own lives. This approach reinforced a fundamental truth that what unites us as human beings is far stronger than what divides us. Building a brand rooted in purpose, success for Oprah was never purely defined by ratings or revenue, though both soared well into the stratosphere. From launching the Oprah magazine to founding her own network, she always aimed to create content that could enrich lives, spark curiosity, and elevate the collective consciousness. Whether recommending a new book, hosting influential guests, or exploring spiritual growth on Super Soul Sunday, her brand continually circled back to one central mission: personal empowerment. This dedication to purpose resonated with audiences who were tired of shallow entertainment. They found in Oprah a guide, someone who combined intellect, emotional depth, and a friendly demeanor to inspire genuine self-reflection. In an era where media can be superficial, she carved out a unique niche by intertwining spirituality, self-help, and everyday practicality. With each new venture, she asked, how does this serve the audience's growth? As a result, her enterprises attracted not just viewers, but dedicated followers, people who saw in her brand a beacon of hope and self-discovery. This underscores a vital lesson: building something meaningful requires more than just chasing profit. It demands a vision that people can connect with on a deeper level. If you aim to create a lasting impact, ask yourself what core values shape your endeavors. For Oprah, it was clear: empathy, education, and enlightenment form the foundation of a media empire like no other, a testament to the power of aligning your work with a heartfelt mission that resonates across diverse backgrounds. Translating struggle into significance. Beneath the glitz and accolades, Oprah's core story remains one of transformation. Every triumph she celebrates, an Emmy, a successful magazine launch, the massive Oprah's Favorite Things phenomenon, carries the echoes of a painful childhood and a relentless pursuit of meaning. She never shied away from her complicated past. Rather, she transmuted it into a driving force for social contribution. Through philanthropic efforts like the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, she continues to uplift those who, like her younger self, may feel overlooked or underestimated by society. This personal investment goes beyond writing checks. She pours her life experiences into creating opportunities that can radically alter someone else's trajectory. When you consider your own hardships, do you see them as wounds that limit your future, or as sources of strength that can empower others? Oprah's entire life demonstrates that anything labeled broken can be reimagined as a bridge leading to transformation for yourself and for countless others who witness your journey. Legacy, in her eyes, is measured not by wealth or fame, but by how effectively one's life story can spark hope and progress in the world. By confronting her darkest moments and daring to reveal them, she illuminated a path that has inspired millions to evolve, heal, and push beyond their perceived limits. Hers is an empire rooted in empathy, authenticity, and the unwavering belief that one's pain can ultimately become one's greatest platform for empowerment. Oprah Winfrey's story proves that no past is too painful to be transformed into a future brimming with purpose and possibility. Her life reminds us that every hardship can become a stepping stone towards self-discovery if we harness it with empathy, courage, and a steadfast commitment to growth. Now it's your turn to translate your adversities into strengths. If you found value in this message, please like, share, and subscribe to Rise and Inspire for more uplifting stories and motivational insights. Your journey can spark a new beginning for someone else today.
They said an American could never lead the Catholic Church. But Robert Prevost wasn't just American. He was a missionary, a mechanic of hope, and a man who turned impossible into I'm possible. Born in a shuttered parish, mocked for his quiet faith, he dreamed of a church without walls. A church where service meant getting your hands dirty, whether in Chicago's streets or Peru's mountains. Critics called him unfit. Survivors questioned his past. But Prevost knew. Redemption isn't earned in palaces. It's forged in the fires of humility. Today, as Pope Leo XIV, he stands not above the world, but beside it, proving that greatness isn't about where you're from, but who you choose to become. The boy who dreamed of priesthood. Robert Prevost's journey to the papacy didn't begin in marble halls or grand cathedrals. It started in a modest home on the south side of Chicago. Born in 1955 to a working-class family, his father was a dedicated educator, and his mother worked as a librarian. They didn't have much, but what they did have was rich in faith, discipline, and love. Young Robert's fascination with the church began early. While most kids played games, he was setting up makeshift altars at home, pretending to lead mass with white cloths, candles, and prayer books. Life wasn't easy. His childhood parish, St. Mary's, closed its doors, a symbolic loss for a boy whose world revolved around the church. The family weathered financial instability, and Robert learned early that devotion didn't shield you from struggle. It helped you survive it. In a multicultural working-class neighborhood, he found himself navigating the tension between American identity and Catholic heritage, often feeling caught between worlds. Yet through it all, his faith never wavered. He served as an altar boy, sang in the choir, and found purpose in every small act of service. His dream of becoming a priest wasn't born from ambition, but from love, a quiet desire to serve God and people in equal measure. Your beginnings may be humble, but your purpose can be holy. Sometimes the smallest spark of faith lights the greatest fire. The missionary grind from Chicago to the Andes. After joining the Augustinian order in 1977, Robert Prevost left behind the comfort of American life for the rugged, unforgiving mountains of northern Peru. Armed with a math degree from Villanova University and a deep sense of mission, he arrived in remote communities like Chulucanas and Trujillo, not as a preacher in robes, but as a brother in boots. For over 15 years, Prevost lived among the poor, walking through flooded roads to reach villages, helping fix broken-down trucks to deliver food and medicine, and celebrating Mass under makeshift roofs. His Spanish improved through daily necessity, and his faith deepened with every challenge he faced. The hardships were relentless: cultural barriers, poverty, isolation, and the ever-present question, am I doing enough? But the people he served never doubted him. They saw his humility, his willingness to listen, and his tireless work ethic. During Peru's worst moments, including the COVID-19 crisis, he was called the Saint of the North for helping secure oxygen plants that saved countless lives. In the Andes, Prevost didn't just spread the gospel, he lived it. His leadership wasn't about titles or hierarchy, but about healing, feeding, and walking beside the forgotten. True greatness begins where comfort ends. Service is not about speaking from the pulpit, it's about showing up when no one else will. Rising through scandal and skepticism, as Robert Prevost rose through the ranks of the Augustinian order, his path was not without shadows. His leadership coincided with a time when the church was reeling from scandal, particularly around the mishandling of abuse cases. Critics pointed to a moment when Prevost permitted a restricted priest to live near a school, an action that drew sharp backlash from survivor advocacy groups and fueled public skepticism. For some, his past raised doubts about transparency and accountability, but Prevost didn't retreat from scrutiny. He confronted it. He acknowledged the church's failings, advocated for reform, and began to walk a tightrope between tradition and progress. His training in canon law made him a formidable voice within the Vatican, earning him the respect of conservative clergy. Yet his compassion and quiet honesty made him equally appealing to those seeking a more human, reform-driven church. In 2023, Pope Francis made a bold move, appointing Prevost to lead the powerful dicastery for bishops, putting him in charge of selecting the future leaders of the church. One of his first actions? Including women in the selection panels for bishops, a historic shift that many had long demanded but few had dared to implement. Prevost's rise wasn't polished, it was forged in fire. He didn't pretend to be perfect. Instead, he proved that integrity means facing hard truths and choosing accountability over image. Leadership isn't about being spotless, it's about standing firm when the world demands better. The historic election, shattering the American Pope taboo. For centuries, the idea of an American Pope was considered unthinkable. The Vatican, wary of US global dominance, quietly held an unwritten rule: no pontiff from the world's superpower. But in May 2025, that rule was broken. Cardinal Robert Prevost of Chicago, missionary, canon lawyer, and bridge builder, was elected Pope Leo XIV, becoming the first American to ever lead the Catholic Church. The news stunned the world. Even inside the conclave, few expected Prevost's name to emerge. Yet it was his dual identity, American by birth, Peruvian by mission, that set him apart. He spoke fluent Spanish and Italian, lived among the poor in South America for over 15 years, and earned a reputation as a unifier across cultural, ideological, and geographic divides. Choosing the name Leo was no accident. It honored Pope Leo XIII, the 19th century champion of workers' rights and social justice. With that gesture, Pope Leo XIV signaled a bold agenda to focus the Church's mission on inequality, climate change, and the dignity of labor. He didn't arrive at the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica as a symbol of nationalism, but as a messenger of unity across continents. In one election, Pope Leo XIV shattered centuries of precedent, not to claim power, but to elevate purpose. Where tradition sets limits, courage draws new maps. Greatness often begins at the edge of what's considered possible. Leadership lessons: humility, adaptability, and quiet strength. Pope Leo XIV's ascent wasn't driven by ambition, it was built on a lifetime of quiet service. His leadership philosophy is rooted in three unshakable principles: humility, adaptability, and strength without spectacle. Throughout his career, whether navigating muddy roads in rural Peru or restructuring Vatican bureaucracy, he never sought the spotlight. He led by doing. Fixing broken trucks, comforting the sick, or rewriting bishop appointment protocols, he treated every task with the same purpose: to serve. His belief: lead from behind, but never fall behind in compassion. What sets him apart is his ability to adapt. In a polarized church, he embraces dialogue over dogma. His reforms, like inviting women into bishop selection panels, didn't come with grand declarations. They came quietly, through action. He listens deeply, weighing perspectives from conservatives and progressives alike, crafting a leadership style that is less about imposing and more about uniting. And though soft-spoken, Prevost carries a quiet strength. When faced with criticism over past decisions, he didn't deflect. He confronted. He stated clearly, "Mistakes are part of leadership, but so is accountability." In an era where loud often overshadows wise, Pope Leo XIV offers a different model. The leader who bends low to lift others up. A shepherd who doesn't just preach humility, but lives it daily. True leadership doesn't need applause. It needs presence, courage, and the grace to serve even when no one's watching. Legacy in motion, a blueprint for you. Pope Leo XIV's story isn't just a chapter in church history. It's a mirror reflecting what's possible for anyone willing to lead with heart, humility, and relentless purpose. His journey from a shuttered parish in Southside Chicago to the seat of global Catholicism wasn't paved with privilege or power. It was carved by perseverance, faith, and service in the shadows. He didn't climb by chasing titles, he rose by lifting others. From delivering medicine in remote Peruvian villages to reforming bishop appointments in Rome, his actions spoke louder than his name. He never asked, "How far can I rise?" but always, "How much more can I serve?" That mindset became his legacy, and now that legacy is still unfolding, not as a monument, but as a model. It reminds us that greatness doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. It invites each of us to lead wherever we are, at work, in our communities, or within our families, with quiet strength and bold integrity. What made Pope Leo XIV extraordinary wasn't his election. It was the decades of invisible preparation that made him ready when the world least expected it. Your impact won't be defined by what you build for yourself, but by what you build for others. You don't need a throne to lead, you just need the courage to begin. Let his life be your invitation to turn today's small acts into tomorrow's legacy. Pope Leo XIV didn't just rewrite history, he redefined leadership. From a shuttered parish in Chicago to the balcony of the Vatican, his story reminds us that faith, resilience, and quiet action can shake the world. If he can rise through rejection, controversy, and expectation, so can you. Don't wait for permission to lead. Start where you are, because the next global change may start with your humble yes. Like, share, and subscribe to Rise and Inspire for more stories of transformational leadership.